Hello, I'm Pastor Mark, your interim pastor, and this is your weekly word of encouragement. Sunday was my first week serving as interim pastor, and I was so encouraged by the things going on at our church. I noticed that part of our value system is to be faith-driven. And I have to say, I saw a lot of positive-minded people. It was really encouraging. People who obviously enjoy working together, people who have a sense of faith about what the future will be, and just a lot of laughter. But as I visited with people, I found also that we're real people. We're people who can be authentic about the realities of life, which for just about all of us includes suffering. It's not maybe our favorite topic, but it's a very common topic. And as I shared on Sunday, suffering is a very common experience. And when suffering enters into our life, we have two different choices, or a choice that we can make. The first option we can choose is we can choose to dwell on suffering. And I call that watering suffering with despair. And if we water suffering with despair, then the despair grows. The thing that we water is the thing that grows. And I'm going to illustrate this with a little story from my own life. I hope you don't mind, but last month I was scheduled to do a small surgery at my doctor's office. They're going to put me under for just a little while and take care of some things. I was very much looking forward to it. I was looking forward to feeling better. I was looking forward, well, I wasn't looking forward to the fact that I already paid for it. It was quite a payment. But I had the date set. In fact, I was in the pre-day routine, where you can't eat any food and you have all these other restrictions. And about 4 o'clock at night, 4 o'clock that afternoon, I was hit by just a terrible spell of coughing. In fact, I coughed and coughed, that kind of cough that's so hard, it makes your ribs ache. Well, that's what I had. And then it just continued on and on through the evening. And when that coughing spell first hit me, I experienced a little measure of suffering. And I began just by wallowing in the despair. I watered the suffering with my despair. Watering suffering by despair means we allow ourselves to kind of magnify the impact of the hard time. And so what I said is, oh no, I know that the doctors won't allow me to have this surgery if I'm coughing. And so I was imagining all the scenarios of the doctors looking very stern and tell me how bad it was that I was coughing. I was imagining I was going to have to give up all of the hundreds of dollars I'd already invested in it. This is the one perfect time to do it. I couldn't think of a time to reschedule it. And I thought all sorts of just very self-defeating thoughts. And the more I had those, the more I found I grew down deep. But after about 6 or 7 minutes, I said, wait a minute. I don't have to water the suffering with despair. I can water it with hope. The thing that we water is the thing that grows. And instead of watering our suffering with despair, we can water it with hope. And so after my little pity party, was what I call it, I said, God, what do you want to do with this? And I simply allowed the love of God to touch my suffering. And out of that, there was a hope that came that I could choose to water and to go with. And what I heard God say was, Mark, you need to share this problem and this need with your life group. And so that's exactly what I did. I shared the need with my life group. I told them it wasn't just a cough, but it was a cough that was going to throw off my whole schedule for the month, a cough that was going to be a financial problem to me, and just a huge disappointment. And they rallied around. And I have to tell you, talk about watering a problem with hope. When that group began to pray for me, I just felt the hope welling up with me, getting stronger and greater. And I went to sleep that night not knowing what was going to happen the next morning. I really had no idea. I was still coughing. It's a hard time getting to sleep. But I had a confidence that God was in control and that God's love would make a difference. Well, the end of the story is I woke up the next morning and I didn't cough. I went into the doctor's office and didn't cough. I went into the operating room and didn't cough. I went all through that day without one cough. I was healthy. The doctors took all my vitals. They said, you're good to go for the surgery. I had the short surgery. It was a great success. And because of that, my hope continues to grow. That's the wonderful thing when we water our problem with hope. The hope grows not only for that occasion, but for all the occasions to come afterwards. And so that's the challenge. That's the encouraging word I have for you today. I know that most of us have one or two problems pressing in on us now. If not now, you will today, because that's life. But when those problems start to knock on our door and say, you know, it's time to throw a pity party, time to move into the time of despair, we can say, no, I have a Jesus, I have a Lord, I have a God who's big enough to handle you, and I'm going to apply hope to the situation. And as I do, I believe that I will see God make a difference. Thanks very much for joining me in this video clip, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on Sunday.